So, so, a few months ago, I talked about Neptune and Aries. Neptune moved into Aries around March 30th, is when Neptune moved into Aries, where it will remain in Aries until October of this year. Where it will move back into Pisces until January 2026. Then in January 2026, it will move back into Aries until, I'm pretty sure, like 2039. So Neptune is about to be in Aries starting in January, until 2039. Pretty sure until 2039. So, what does this mean? Well, it's kind of a clash of energy between Neptune and Aries because they're very opposite energies. So, Aries is very bold, Neptune is too, to a certain extent, but Aries is much more, forward and I don't know, loud and direct, you know what I mean? And straightforward, whereas, Pisces rules Neptune, and Pisces is a very dreamy sign. It's a water sign, and so it's all about, you know, kind of like the unseen, and so is the planet of Neptune. It's all about like what's underneath the surface of things. So because of that, the planet of Neptune and even the sign of Pisces, there can be some delusional or not elusive, elements of illusion there. So you combine Aries with Neptune, and that can lead to some explosive shit, because we're talking about people that are standing in their power or leadership capabilities, but also being in a state of like being a visionary and being bold and being a leader without, I don't know, it can lead to basically like delusional decision making, or like more intensity in interactions. It can lead to tension in general. And so what I wanted to touch upon is, and I said this a few months ago, that we're going to start seeing things happening in society that align with this Neptune going into Aries transit on a bigger scale. So I feel like that is some of what we're already seeing in certain ways. I mean, one of the things I was going to point out that I think makes a lot of sense, that I expected to happen, like I said, around March 30th, I was like, in the next few months, there's going to be some pretty big things that happen, or tension that takes place on like a larger scale when it comes to like leadership or people in power. And so what are we seeing happening right now? Well, we're seeing clashing of energy. So like, for example, Trump and Elon Musk, I know people don't like politics, but come on, that's no coincidence. They were besties, and now all of a sudden they're falling out, and it's because you've got two people who have very strong opinions, who probably have some narcissistic traits and tendencies that are clashing. Then you combine the planetary transits and alignments, and it's like, very explosive, because you have two people with huge egos who have huge visions. You know what I mean? So that's where the clashing comes in, because I would imagine, when you have two people who are, and I know some people would say, what are you talking about? But quote-unquote leaders in their own right, in whatever way that they think that they're leaders, or in whatever way that they are leaders, or that people perceive them to be leaders, whatever. You've got two powerful individuals, basically, whether you like them or not, that are not able to get on the same page, not only because of the ego clashing, but also because we're in a time period where that's exactly what Neptune and Aries is like going your own way, basically, leading, making your own way, essentially, and following your own sense of expression or beliefs, so that may be why we're seeing some of this stuff going on, which I did not expect that to happen, but does not surprise me, because I could see that being a power and control issue there. You've got two controlling people, or two people that are powerful, and, everybody has control issues, but point is, two visions clashing. And then I think that's what happened. I don't know the details of why they fell out, but I would guess it's because he's, Elon may have imposed some ideas, or quote unquote imposed, where maybe what's his face felt like he shouldn't be. But again, that's that bold energy, and that's that clashing of the egos. But also, like I said, the planetary alignments don't necessarily help with that, So it's like, would that have happened regardless? Maybe, just because of who they are. But, when Neptune is in Pisces, so Neptune was in Pisces prior to this, there's less of a likelihood of that to happen, because Pisces is more delusional. So you can kind of pacify and and like people kind of pacify more, or can kind of go into a state of illusion more. Whereas right now with Neptune being in Aries, that's just not a thing. Not so much. Except for with, maybe beliefs as far as what can be accomplished, or visions maybe being unrealistic or whatever. But, with Neptune being in Pisces, there's much more of a likelihood to kind of just lull yourself to sleep and not maybe have as much tension or whatnot. So, and obviously these are subtle things, and I think it affects people regardless, but if you're not self-aware, I think it impacts you more. Hey, Shannon. How's it going? So then it's like, I want to put my phone up here, but it's going to overheat because it's in the sun. So that's why, you guys can't see anything, and it's kind of boring. Sorry, but, oh, shit. But yeah, so that's kind of cray that happened, but not too surprising. Not too surprising, and there's more of that where that came from. So, I think that was actually probably a smart decision. I don't know who kicked who to the curb or whatever, but yeah, probably a lack of compromise on what was envisioned, but I think it's just much harder to balance out the power and share the power now in this period we're in. So, yeah. Kind of cray. Trying to think if there's anything else that's big, really big, that's been happening that has happened in the past couple of months, as far as just in leadership and society, that may relate to this. But yep, we're going to be seeing much more of that. And I mean, it's really a positive thing because it's going to force change, much needed change. And I mean, I think it's probably a good thing that there was a falling out there because I definitely do not necessarily trust Elon Musk. I think he's a little bit... He's not as clean cut, okay? And I'm not into politics, like I said, but he's not as clean cut, in my opinion. He's a fucking weirdo, actually, to be honest. He's really weird. And it's, I think, you know, people want to talk about Trump having issues with impulse control, emotion regulation, which, yeah, clearly he can say some things that, whatever. But I think, ultimately, it's going to be a positive thing because I don't think we want somebody like Elon Musk influencing what happens, considering he doesn't give a shit because it's not going to impact him at all, which, I mean, you could say the same thing about what's-his-face. Sure. But, I don't know about you, but I'd be much more scared of having a guy with, 14 kids and 3 million baby mamas making decisions for us than a guy who clearly has a little bit more self-control considering he doesn't have 12 million baby mamas. So, peeps can say what they want, and I know peeps can say what they want, but all I have to say is having another narcissist or another person with, that intense of a personality coming together with somebody else with a super intense personality just is not really the best combination. Creates a power dynamic, power struggle, which is obviously what happened here, which is what led to what happened. So, like I said, I'm not into politics, really don't care. I'm just analyzing behavior based on what I've seen and analyzing personality based on what I've seen. And I think that was a smart move and probably needed to happen because otherwise, I just, yeah, no. So that was good. That was good. That was definitely good. And then, I mean, we see the retaliation too. I didn't look into it much, but I did see that what's-his-face, like, retaliated by basically saying that, Trump's name was in the Epstein files and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, he only shared that piece of information because he's a narcissist and he's smearing he's smearing Donald Trump's character, which is kind of hysterical. I mean, in a sense, because oh my gosh. It's like they're kind of karma for each other in a sense, but either way, I don't think that guy is helping anything. Having that extra ego in the mix is definitely not going to do any favors. And also that was probably his way of trying to leverage the information that he knew about him to try to get his way too. That was also his way of being like, ooh, I have all this information about you and I'm going to leak it. So kind of like a child, or I'm going to have a temper tantrum if you don't give me what I want and I'm going to tell all your biz, which it's like, granted, everybody already fucking probably guessed that. So I don't know what else to say about that other than tensions clashing, and as a result, as a result, we might see some kind of explosive outcomes, or like, you know, I really didn't foresee that coming. I did not see that coming, but like I said, I do think it's a good thing. And it makes sense because of the clashing of visions, ideas, ways of expressing said ideas. So, you know, let's just hope. I don't know. I wonder if there's a connection between Neptune and Aries and karma. Let me see. Okay. Okay. So this is what I found. So specifically, Neptune and Aries can influence karma in the following ways. It can lead to spiritual revolution. A shift may occur away from traditional passive spiritual practices towards more individualized, active, and experiential approaches to the divine. This might involve challenging old religious or spiritual paradigms. Let me see. Action and intuition. The combination of Neptune's dreamy quality and Aries' action-oriented nature can encourage people to bridge inspiration with action, translating spiritual insights into tangible reality. Okay, but... Ooh, okay. So it is kind of associated with karma in a sense because it forces these illusions out into the light, basically. So facing illusions and deception. Neptune can be associated with delusion and blurred reality. Neptune and Aries can bring to light areas where deception has occurred, urging the confrontation of illusions and the prioritization of discernment. My bad. So yeah, so that's kind of what we're seeing, honestly, is like, you know, this fallout is bringing about certain truths. Reclaiming personal power. Huh. Yeah. So, reclaiming personal power, this transit can empower individuals to take initiative, make mindful decisions, and assume accountability for their actions, thereby influencing their karmic path. So, yeah, that makes sense, because it's like bringing certain things into light, and then depending on how you handle that, yeah, that makes sense. So it is kind of associated with karma in a sense, because it's forcing you to face these things, these aspects of yourself that may have been, you know, you've previously tried to hide. So, I mean, it's really beautiful for healing and spiritual growth, and all of that. But yeah, Neptune is going to be in Aries until October. And then it's going to go back into Aries in January, after it goes back into Pisces for a little bit. But yeah, so expect the unexpected, I'm telling you. Revolution. This is like revolutionary energy, really. Intense, very intense. So, you know, the last time Neptune was in Aries, as you saw on the thumbnail, I think it was like it sparked the Civil War. You know, it's like the Civil War, I think, literally started like the next day or something ridiculous like that. So, yeah, it can really spark some huge changes. So I guess we'll see what happens next with it, you know. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing, and shit, this is really not working out here, over here. But, oh my gosh, it just gets so hot so fast though. That's why I was leaving the car on, because it just gets so freaking hot. But so yeah, we're definitely gonna see more peeps clashing, more leadership, like on a higher level, a bigger scale, larger scale. I knew I would get that response. That's hilarious. Someone got offended at a comment I made on a true crime video. I mean, I guess it was an ignorant comment. I don't know. But it was like purposefully. It was kind of purposeful, peeps. And somebody commented and said, this is an asinine comment. Yeah, because I bet it rang true for you, bub. That's why it was an asinine comment to you, because it hurt your little eeg. Hurt your little eeg. You know? Made you self-reflect on your small d energy, I'm sure. You know, it happens. It's okay. You know? I can't say we've all been there, because I haven't, you know? I'm just talking shit, guys, but yep, can't relate to that one, buddy. I can't tell you what the comment was. It was probably too controversial to say. I mean, it wasn't anything mean, or, you know what I mean, or like vicious or anything. It was just it's just my opinion, basically. It's my opinion, and it's actually my truth. It's actually like true. I actually do believe what I said. So, I mean, it's okay. I just hurt someone's ego. Just hurt someone's ego. Hilarious. Absolutely freaking hilarious. Yeah. Don't know if I want to go into it. Part of me does, just because it's hilarious and I don't really care, but, you know. Beautiful day out here, though, peeps. Beautiful day. Gorge, sunny, you know. Oh, yes, I did, Shannon. I subscribed to him. Yep, I just looked him up earlier and I subscribed to him. So I'm hoping to maybe I'll is it the guy where like he just posted a video a few days ago, like 3 days ago. He posted a video. Cuz I definitely got to check that out cuz I want to understand this, the shit more. Like I have a basic understanding of this stuff obviously cuz I'm talking about it right now, but I wanted like a deeper understanding of it. Oh, every Tuesday he posts. Oh, okay. So that would make sense then. 3 days ago. Yeah, I'll definitely listen. I didn't get a chance to listen yet, but I did subscribe to him and I'm gonna listen to what he posted on Tuesday a little later and just get some more, get some more in. As info, that's what I mean. Oh, nice. Okay. Awesome. So that'll be good. Yeah. It's just that this time of the day that it's always like this over here is real hot. Then he goes through all the transits and the meanings day by day. It's pretty cool and good info. Oh, awesome. Okay. Does he explain like the different terminology, like trine and conjunct and all that shit? Because that's what I think we need. More astrologers that when they're explaining, oh God, my phone is like heating up. I think we need more astrologers that like actually explain like the terminology and shit like that. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. My phone's like gonna overheat. Hang on. Okay. I'll send you a pic of the meaning of each aspect, aka Times Square. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, that would be awesome, Shannon. Thank you so much. I'd appreciate that because, I want to learn more about it so I can talk more about it on here because I think that the transits impact us more than we think. And, especially when you're really sensitive to energy, it might just help you to be able to discern, what's going on, why you're feeling the way you're feeling, how to approach situations because of that, because it impacts emotions and it impacts actions because of the energy, basically. That's why it works that way. If people are wondering, it's not like, because I think a lot of people's like, oh, that's fake. Like, what would that mean? Why would that mean anything? Because it changes the energy, it shifts the energy on Earth, depending on where things are at. That's literally how energy, works, I guess. Beautiful day. Just wish I could I want to go somewhere, I want to travel somewhere. I have one more client I got to talk to today. that's it. So that'll be good. Huh. Ooh. Oh God. I don't want to keep my car running because thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So, you know, I was on Damon Darling's live the other day, yesterday I think, and I didn't really see what comment the person made, but there was somebody that made like a rude comment to him. I think, you know, because he just bought a new house. He posted about, you know, on YouTube about how him and his wife just bought a new house, and I guess somebody commented in the chat and said some shitty shit to him, and basically just probably, I think, said something along the lines of not earning it or not deserving it or something like that. And I could tell it triggered him. I mean, understandably so, but you could tell it really kind of stressed him out and kind of sent him on a mini spiral emotionally, because he was like explaining himself, you know. And so I said in the chat, and I think he was looking at the comments and stuff, but I did say in the chat, I said, you know, you don't have to explain yourself to this bitch. I didn't say it like that, but I just said, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody, you know. This is somebody, I mean, she's jealous. She clearly is just a self-hating ass bitch. And this is not about you, it's about her. And so when somebody projects onto you their self-hate, you don't have to explain yourself. You just, but sometimes that, I mean, that can be hard. I mean, to not go on a spiral and stuff like that. Sometimes, you know, you're in a more vulnerable state of mind or whatever, and people get to you. So it's like, that's that's normal. And especially when it's surrounding like stuff that you've worked really hard for, and you know, you've had to do a lot of healing work in order to get there, like trauma recovery and like getting clean. Like he had to get clean and get sober in order to make his life better and shit like that. So okay, like I always say, you're doing something. I think that guy's mentally ill. It's a guy that walks by and he just like talks to himself, which is like, I mean, that's normal to talk to yourself, but to like yell to yourself in public is a little bit more red flaggish, I guess. Even though sometimes, I mean, shit, sometimes I'll talk to myself if nobody's around, but I mean, anyway, I don't care about that. It's not my biz. But so, you know, I just wanted to say that I felt for him, because I could tell that he was kind of getting stressed out or, you know, triggered, and hopefully he read my comment and saw that, because he did. Then after he like scrolled up and looked at all the comments, that must have encouraged him, and then he shifted his energy and was like, you know what? Fuck you. He didn't say fuck you, but he said, you know what? I'm not going to allow you to, like, bring me down and make me feel this way because, like, I did earn this shit, bitch. There's bitches taking their clothes off for millions of dollars living in mansions right now. So, pretty sure a man who busted his ass, going on tour and whatever, he's a comedian and whatnot, definitely deserves that, of which he's being rewarded by God and the universe, because he got on the spiritual path and made healthier life decisions, and so he earned every bit of what he has. So, but that doesn't need to be explained to some dumb random bitch on the internet. You know what I mean? And that's what he realized after he read some of the comments. I think that, screw this bitch, and I'm not gonna keep going on about this because I don't know you shit, and I don't know you, and you're probably sitting at home in your little apartment, wishing that wasn't your life, I guess. Because why else would you say that to somebody? Hater. Just a frickin' hater. Right, exactly, Shannon. That's so true. Yeah. So I'm glad he got encouraged and didn't allow it to keep bothering him and all that. But sometimes, that's why you got to be careful with going online and, going live. You've got to be in a good state of mind, because I've come on here before and not been in a good mood, and LOL. That's all I'll say is LO frickin' L. So it's not the just it's a good way to protect yourself, to be vigilant of that, especially if that's not like your purpose of why you're on YouTube. Like me, that's like my purpose of why I'm on YouTube, is like making myself vulnerable, basically, as far as sharing my experience, strength, and hope for others to help heal their own shit. Which, I mean, actually, now that I think about it, Damon Darling does do that in certain ways. So yeah, but just sometimes people are assholes and you don't expect it, and it throws you off. Especially when you have a lot of empathy, because it's like, sometimes it's hard to even wrap your head around the fact that there's people that are, like that. It's like, dude, be happy somebody's winning. Jesus Christ. That's great. Thank God. I mean, why would you want to see somebody in despair? Why would you want to see somebody hurting? That's sick. You're a sick bitch. Even when I'm at my lowest, I've worked on myself enough to where I absolutely am happy for other people and their come up, because that's the way I look at it. Well, thank God one of us is, getting there. Thank God one of us is there. Because that's the objective of my mission on this planet, is creating community and a sense of oneness, so that's why I look at it in that way, because it's stupid anyway. It's all material stuff. Who cares? I don't know. I just can't relate to that mindset. And that's also probably because, like, that's not really my personal definition of quote unquote success. I mean, it's obviously you've obtained material financial success, but I'm just saying that doesn't dictate whether you are a successful person in life or not, in my opinion. I think what makes him a successful person in life is that he got his shit together and he cleaned himself up and picked his ass up and fucking did something that he was passionate about and loves, and now he's a healthier, stronger person and a great leader for a lot of people in the community in general. That is success, not the money. So whoever that person is just asleep anyway. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, well, I don't want to put that out into the universe, because obviously I'm manifesting abundance and prosperity and expansion and space and growth. And I don't really care about, a house or a mansion. That sounds stressful. The upkeep sounds stressful. And also, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, like, one of my biggest fears, okay, I'm afraid of the dark, and like, in a big mansion, do you know how many dark places there are for intruders to hide? And I've seen way too many scary movies as a kid to risk, But no, seriously, like, I don't think I would ever feel at ease. I think I would be needing bodyguards surrounding literally every corner of the house. Like, I just couldn't do it. It would probably stress me out. What the fuck is going on right now? What the hell is going on? Is this girl okay? I do not know what's going on. I should ask this girl if she's okay. Why does this always happen to me, you guys? Is she okay? Why? She's saying, ow, I'm worried. And she stopped right there and she's rubbing her stomach. I don't get what's going on. I hope she's okay. Is she okay? Why is she acting like that? I was gonna ask her, but I'm just tired of meeting people. Jesus. What the fuck is going on? I don't know. It's odd, but hopefully she's okay, sending her healing energy. But yeah, so I mean, oh, what time is it? I don't define success in that way anyway. And, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night in a mansion, so. Just kind of puts a target on your back, too. And I'm a minimalist. I don't see the point in having that much shit, that much space. It's kind of greedy. It's gross. It feels gross and gluttonous to me. Unless, of course, you have, like, for example, Damon Darling has 5 fucking kids and a wife. Okay, that makes sense to get a mansion. Yes, great. It's a great idea. And it's an amazing idea. But, yeah, no. So, yeah, I don't think that would, be my vibe. That would not be my vibe. Unless it was a mansion loft, huge loft. So you could see every area of it practically. But I don't really like to be indoors anyway. That's also why it doesn't make sense, because it would be a waste. I'm literally barely in my apartment. So I think success is how much you've grown and developed internally as a person, you know, and spiritually speaking as well. I know very, you know, successful people financially that are just totally checked out emotionally and spiritually speaking. I mean, how is that success? You're a robot and now you're a rich robot? Cool. Cool, rich robot. That's awesome. Life goals. Rich robot in the house. Whoever this. Okay. Like, what? That is so odd. I think that chick has a problem with me and I don't even know the bitch. There's this chick that walks by here and she's like, I don't know, weirdly gave me a dirty look and then thought I was recording her, and she just walked by, but she like walked on the other side of the street and then crossed the street. Man, the many ways that trauma fucks people's heads up, boy. I tell you, that is crazy, bro. That's crazy because she's literally projecting onto me and she thinks I'm racist, and yet she's like ironically repeating patterns that are like would be used towards a person of color. You know what I mean? So it's like the psyche really does some crazy shit. Because basically it's like it's a coping mechanism. Well, I feel disempowered, so let me like project this onto you so you can potentially feel the same way. You know what I mean? It's kind of gets dicey, but people do interesting things. I don't know. That's okay. Whatever your prerogative is, you know, whatever. But that's not really the way, you know. That's not really the solution. But it probably gives an illusion of the sense of power and control, and I guess some people aren't healthy enough to transcend their egos and they live inside that trap for the rest of their lives, which actually is pretty self-oppressive, but oh well. What can you do? Pray for them. Universe, guides and angels, God, I hope that you help this woman's discernment and help her to find peace and make peace and learn to find ways to empower herself in healthy ways, and helping her to recognize that she's projecting onto other people and that she needs to handle her insecurities and fears appropriately and accordingly. Otherwise, she's not going to have as peaceful of a life. So I pray that, like I said, that she heals those things and recognizes those things and doesn't let that torment her forever or influence her behavior. You know what I mean? Because the subconscious does a whole lot of, you know, interesting stuff. We operate out of our subconscious like 95% of the time. So that's why it's important not to take anything personal. That's not personal to me, it's personal to her, and I feel bad for her that, you know. But yeah, what can you do? Peeps, I gotta I gotta get on this appointment here in a sec-y-weck, so I'm gonna go and I will be back, after this. Yeah, I'll probably be back after this to do a reading, okay, peeps? So, stay woke. Just kidding. No, but really, don't let your ego, like how I just did that, rewind it if you need to see a practice on how to detach from ego and how to, it's a coping skill. That's a way I cope as well. By empathizing with others and trying to see their perspective. It actually works wonders, peeps. Works wonders. You just have to be careful you're not potentially projecting onto them. You got to check yourself too, so. The shit gets deep, people. You said the moon's in Libra? Is it in Scorpio yet? Because all of that feels very Scorpio-ish. Like all of the hidden aspects, your subconscious. Anyway, guys. Catch you later, Shannon. I'll be back later.